Hello students, I am VLN Swarupini, lecturer in biochemistry from Sri Venkateswara College of Arts and Sciences, which is affiliated to Adikavi Nannaya University. Now I would like to discuss about placental hormones, and this class is for 3rd BSc 5th semester 5th paper, that is physiology, clinical biochemistry and immunology. Okay, in the previous class we have discussed about thyroid hormones, parathyroid hormones and also about pancreatic hormones. Now let's see about this placental hormones. Okay, generally you are somehow aware of the pituitary gland hormones, thyroid hormones and this pancreas hormones, gastrointestinal tract hormones, but these placental hormones are new to you now. Okay, so listen carefully about this placental hormones. This actually, what is placenta? It is a connecting pipe between the fetus and the mother in the fetus which is present in the womb is connected to the mother with this placenta. Okay, and this placenta is responsible for the transportation of biomolecules or the minerals in, to the fetus. Okay, and in addition to its role in transporting molecules between mother and fetus, the placenta is a major endocrine organ. Okay, so this is also an major endocrine organ, and it turns out that the placenta synthesizes a huge and diverse number of hormones and cytokinins that have major influence on ovaries, uterus and mammary and fetal physiology. Okay, and mostly it is related to the endocrine system of a mother. Okay, so it is mostly related to the endocrine system, female endocrine system, and not to the male endocrine system. Why? Because this placenta is only formed during the after the fetus implantation in the uterus. Okay, so that's why this is related to the woman endocrine system. Okay, so this is helpful in the secretion of different kinds of hormones and cytokinins, and these influence ovaries, uterus and mammary and fetal physiology. Okay, so let's see the next points. This section focuses on the major steroids and protein hormones. So placenta produces steroid hormones and protein hormones. These placenta will produce two kinds of hormones, that is steroid hormones and protein hormones. So let's see about this. First, steroid hormones. And these steroid hormones, sex steroids are the best known examples of placental hormones, and two major groups are produced by mammals like progesterones and estrogens. Okay, now first let's see about progestins. Progestins are molecules that bind to the progesterone receptor, and progesterone itself is often called the hormone of pregnancy because of the critical role it plays in supporting the endometrium and hence on survival of the conceptus. Okay, so here this progestin, these are the special kind of molecules, and these are helpful for the binding the progesterone receptors. And this progesterone is a hormone, and this is very essential for the pregnancy, and this hormone itself is called as hormone of pregnancy. Okay, and these progesterones are helpful for the binding of this progesterone. And coming to progesterone, why it is called as hormone of pregnancy? Because it plays a crucial role in supporting the endometrium. Endometrium is nothing but the outer lining which is present to the uterus wall. Okay, This endometrium is the special lining which is present to the wall of the uterus, and hence on survival of the conceptus. Conceptus is nothing but it is the embryo in the early stages is called as conceptus. Okay, so as this conceptus is implanted onto the this endometrium, during the early stages of this conceptus and development of its and implantation, all this complete process is in all this complete process progesterone will play a crucial role, and without the proper implantation of the embryo, there will be no development in the particular embryo, and there will be no formation of the fetus. So that's why this is called as hormone of pregnancy. That means stabilization of this pregnancy is mostly dependent on the action of progesterone. Okay, the placenta of all mammals examined produce progestins, although the quantity varies significantly. That means almost all the mammals will have this placenta and produce this progestins. Okay, all the mammal placentas will produce this progestin, but if we compare in different species or different organisms, this quantity of progestins is different. Okay, quantity will vary from one species to another, and in some species like human, horses, sheep, cats, sufficient progestin is secreted by the placenta that the ovaries or corpus luteum can be removed after establishment of the placenta, and the pregnancy will continue. Okay, so in few organisms, how it will work? This progestin is secreted by the placenta, and ovaries or corpus luteum can be removed after establishment of this placenta, and pregnancy will be continued. And in few animals like cattle, pigs, goats and dogs, luteal progesterone is necessary throughout gestation because the placenta does not produce sufficient amounts. Okay, and most important progestins, let's see about them. Progestins including progesterone have two major roles during pregnancy. So important role of the progesterone during pregnancy: this support of the endometrium to provide an environment conducive to fetal survival. If the endometrium is deprived of progestins, the pregnancy will inevitably be terminated. That means this progesterone hormone will support the endometrium to provide an environment for the fetal survival. Okay, that means this endometrium should be maintained with proper environment for the fetus survival, or else what will happen? Fetus will not survive and it should be terminated. So that's why endometrium will, along with progesterone, play an important role during the pregnancy. And suppression of contractility in uterine smooth muscles, which if unchecked would clearly be disaster. This is often called the progesterone block on the myometrium. Towards the end of gestation, this myometrial quitting effect is antagonized by releasing levels of estrogens, thereby facilitating parturition. Okay, so suppression of contractility in uterine smooth muscles during the delivery of the baby. Contraction in the uterus smooth muscles is very essential. Okay, and this particular contraction will be suppressed by few factors. Okay, and this is called as progesterone block. Okay, and this is occurs on myometrium, and during the end of the gestation period, this myometrial quitting effect is antagonized by rising levels of estrogens, and finally delivery will be facilitated. Parturium is nothing but delivery, process of delivery is called as parturition. Okay, so these are the two factors, two important functions of progesterone. Progesterone and other progestins also potently inhibit secretion of the pituitary gonadotrophins, luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. This effect almost always prevents ovulation from occurring during pregnancy. That means along with this progesterone and other progestins, there will be inhibiting of secretion of pituitary gonadotrophins like luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone, because these will lead to ovulation again. Okay, these gonadotrophins, pituitary gonadotrophins like luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone are responsible for the growth of the ovary and for the ovulation process. Okay, so to prevent that process, these particular gonadotrophins like luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone secretion is inhibited with this progesterone and other progestins. And the next one is estrogens. Along with progesterones, estrogens are also steroid hormones released from this placenta. The placenta produces several distinct estrogens. In women, the major estrogen produced by placenta is estriol. Okay, so here many kinds of different types of estrogens are produced from placenta, and the major estrogen or the important estrogen is estriol, and the equine placenta synthesize a unique group of estrogens not seen in other animals. Okay, this is a species in which unique kind of estrogens are produced, and depending on the species, placental estrogens are derived from either fetal androgens, placental progestins or other steroid precursors. That means based on the species, placental estrogens may be derived from fetal androgens, or placental progesterones are from the steroid precursors. These may help the production of these estrogens based on the species. Okay. With few exceptions, the concentration of estrogens in maternal blood rises to maximum towards the end of gestation. That means by the end of the gestation period, that means by reach of the 8th and 9th months, what will happen? Concentration of estrogens in the blood of that particular pregnant woman will be very high. Okay, and major principles of placental estrogens are like, let's see, this stimulate growth of myometrium and antagonize the myometrial suppressing activity of progesterone. Okay, that means here myometrium is the outer lining of the uterus, and this myometrium growth is stimulated by this estrogen, and also it will suppress the myometrial suppressing activity of progesterone. That means myometrium have a special activity to suppress progesterone, and this suppression activity of myometrial is inhibited by this estrogen. Okay, and in many species the high levels of estrogen in late gestation include myometrial oxytocin receptors, thereby preparing the uterus for parturition or the delivery. Okay, so here as these estrogens are in high concentration during at the end of the gestation period, and most importantly myometrial oxytocin So this is one kind of estrogen, and by this estrogen production in high concentration, this myometrial oxytocin will be induced, and it will lead to the proper delivery of the baby. Okay, and stimulate mammary gland development. Okay, it stimulates mammary gland development, as immediately after the delivery of the baby, within couple of hours only, baby should be fed with the colostrum produced in the mother. So for the time of the delivery only, before the time of the delivery only, these mammary glands should be stimulated for the production of the milk. Okay, and for that purpose, mammary gland development and stimulation is carried out with the estrogen. Okay, so next let's see. And these progestins and estrogens suppress gonadotrophin secretion from pituitary gland, and in few species like humans and horses, where placental estrogens are synthesized from androgens during the fetus, and maternal estrogen levels are often a useful indicator of fetal well-being. That means these progestins and estrogens will suppress gonadotrophin secretions from pituitary gland. Gonadotrophins like this luteinizing hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, these should be suppressed, and these progestins and estrogens will play an important role in the suppression of this gonadotrophin secretion from pituitary gland. And in few species like humans and hormones, placental estrogens are produced from androgens, and these androgens will be produced by fetus. That means fetus will produce androgens, and these androgens will be responsible for the production of placental estrogens. And also maternal estrogen levels are very essential for the identification of proper growth and development of the fetus. That means if fetus is properly developing, and if the condition of fetus is good and perfect, then it will produce androgens. Okay, and these androgens are helpful in the production of placental estrogens. Okay, and by detecting these maternal estrogen levels in the from the patient or from the pregnant woman, it is an indication. If the placental estrogen level is good and perfect, then what is the indication? It indicates that fetus growth is good and fetus is growing well, and it is a good sign. Okay, so just it is a small graphic representation about this estrogens and all. Progesterone is indicated with blue color and estrogen is indicated with red color. Okay, and if you see the bottom, you can see days of gestation. Okay, here it is mentioned in days, and at the end of the gestation period is what happening, both the progesterone and estrogen levels are high. Okay, these will facilitate the proper delivery of the baby, and this progesterone is mainly helpful in the contraction and also in the suppression of these gonadotrophins of pituitary gland, and also this estrogen is responsible for the growth and also the suppression of pituitary gland gonadotrophins. And progesterone, if you see progesterone level in the early stages of the fetus also, it is high. Okay, and up to 50 days of within 50 days, that means during first 2 to 3 months, the levels of progesterone will be high, and this is essential for the proper implantation and proper maintenance of the pregnancy. And after that, progesterone level is little moderate. Okay, and after few months, what will happen, estrogen production will be also initiated and estrogens will be produced, and these estrogens are mostly Placental estrogens are mostly produced by the androgen hormones produced from the fetus. That means these are mostly produced after the proper implantation and development of the fetus itself. Okay, so after that during the end of the gestation period, both the levels are high. Okay, so by this you can understand how the concentrations of progesterone and estrogen are in any pregnant woman. Okay, so and the next one is protein hormones. Till now we discussed about steroid hormones. Okay, now we are going to see about protein hormones. Okay, so let's see about this protein hormones. Several protein and peptide hormones are synthesized in placenta of various species, and they have effect on the mother's endocrine system and fetal metabolism and preparation of the mother for postpartum support of her offspring. So here the mother's endocrine system will produce different kinds of protein and peptide hormones, and this affect these placental peptide hormones or protein hormones will affect mother's endocrine system for the fetal metabolism, proper metabolism in the fetus, and preparation of the mother for postpartum support of her offspring. That means postpartum is nothing but after birth. That means immediately after entry of the offspring into the outer environment, that particular offspring or the newborn or neonatal should be okay with the outer environment. So to give that preparation, pre-preparation by that mother to the offspring, these protein hormones and peptide hormones are essential. Okay, and the first protein hormone is chorionic gonadotrophin. Chorionic gonadotrophin. And we discussed this HCG, human chorionic gonadotrophin, in the thyroid hormones. Okay, sorry, in the pituitary gland hormones along with the gonadotrophins. So actually this should be studied here. Okay, because it is produced from the placenta. Okay, as the name implies, these hormones have the effect of stimulating the gonads. Similarly, the pituitary gonadotrophins, okay, luteinizing hormone or the follicle stimulating hormone, these are stimulated with the help of this chorionic gonadotrophin. So the human hormone, that is human chorionic gonadotrophin or simply HCG, this hormone is produced by fetal trophoblast cells, and it binds to the luteinizing hormone receptor on cells of the corpus luteum, which prevents luteal regression. Thus HCG serves as a signal for maternal recognition of pregnancy. Okay, so while discussing about HCG during pituitary gland class, I told you this is the first and foremost hormone that will be produced after the initial fusion of the gametes, and this will help in the early detection of the pregnancy. So for this process, what it will do, immediately after the fusion, fetal trophoblast cells, okay, trophoblast cells produce this HCG, and it will bind to luteinizing hormone receptors of corpus luteum. Okay, and luteal regression will be seen, and that means luteinizing hormone suppression will be seen, and this HCG serves as maternal recognition of pregnancy. That means as the indication for pregnancy detection in early stages. Okay, and we can also call this first hormone to be produced was HCG, and this is a, you can chorionic gonadotropin is also produced from fetal trophoblast cells. It is actually the same molecule as luteinizing hormone. So apart from HCG, placental lactogens are also protein hormones of this placenta, and these hormones are molecular relatives of prolactin and growth hormone. Okay, molecular relatives is nothing but these are similar in structure with the prolactin and growth hormone. Okay, and coming to this placental lactogens, these hormones have been identified in primates, ruminants and rodents. Okay, and but not in other species. These are only meant for the species of primates, ruminants and rodents. Okay, and the functions of placental lactogens are not well understood, and they are thought to modulate fetal and maternal metabolism, perhaps metabolizing energy substrates for fetal use. In some species, they have been shown to stimulate functions of corpus luteum and to participate in development of the mammary glands prior to parturition. Okay, so these are specially found in these three species, that is primates, ruminants and rodents. Okay, and proper function is not yet understood, but they might be helpful in the modulation of fetus and maternal metabolism. That means fetus metabolism maintenance is mostly done by these hormones, or also energy substrates, mobilization of energy to the fetus, and in some species these may stimulate function of corpus luteum and to participate in development of the mammary gland prior to parturition. Okay, so these hormones will help in the development of mammary gland before the delivery of the offspring, so that immediately after the birth of the offspring, what will happen, it can be fed with the first milk, that is colostrum. Okay, and the other hormone is relaxin. So relaxin is also an important hormone, and this relaxin is a hormone thought to act synergistically with progesterone to maintain pregnancy. Okay, along with progesterone, this relaxin may be parallelly act to maintain the pregnancy. Okay, and it also causes relaxation of pelvic ligaments at the end of gestation and may therefore aid in delivery or parturition. Okay, so this help in the relaxation of pelvic ligaments, so that it will provide proper delivery of the baby at the end of gestation period. Okay, during the labor, what will happen, these pelvic ligaments should be relaxed, and as this particular hormone relaxin is being helpful in the relaxation of pelvic ligaments, it is named as relaxin. Okay, so by the action of relaxin, pelvic ligaments are relaxed, and it will lead to proper delivery of the offspring. And in some of the species which relaxin is known to be produced, it is produced by the placenta, while in others the major source is the corpus luteum. That means in few species relaxin is produced from placenta, while in few species this relaxin is produced from corpus luteum, and in some species relaxin is produced from both corpus luteum and placenta. Okay, it is produced from both corpus luteum and placenta. Okay, that means in some species it is produced from placenta, in some species it is produced from corpus luteum, and in some species it is produced from both corpus luteum and placenta also. Okay, so this is about the hormones of placenta. Okay, so what we have discussed in this class about placental hormones, and these are produced from the placenta, which is the connecting tube present between the fetus and the mother, and this will produce many kinds of hormones, and these are two types: steroid hormones and also protein hormones. Steroid hormones are progesterone and estrogens, and coming to this protein hormones, these are human chorionic gonadotropin, relaxin, and also in few species this placental lactogens are also produced. Okay, so let's see this topic in brief. Excuse me. Okay, these placental hormones are helpful in the maintenance of the fetus, and this is a major endocrine organ, and this section focuses mainly on the steroid and protein hormones of this placenta. And coming to steroid hormones, placental hormones, steroid placental hormones are progestins and estrogens. Okay, most important progestin is progesterone, and it is a most essential and hormone of pregnancy. Okay, it is called as hormone of pregnancy, as depending on the progesterone, this pregnancy survival is almost always dependent. Okay, and this progesterone will helpful in the maintenance of the health of endometrium and survival of the fetus. Okay, and quantity of this progesterone or progestins is vary from different species. And coming to the major function of this progesterone is will support the endometrium, okay, to provide environment for the fetus survival. That means endometrium health is maintained with this progesterone. Okay, and with this with that what will happen, fetus will grow and there will be proper implantation of the fetus onto the endometrium. Okay, endometrium is the outer lining of the uterus. Okay, and this by this it will pregnancy will be stable, and if there is any disturbance in the progesterone level or in the endometrium will lead to termination or aborting of this fetus. Okay, and the next one is suppression of contractility in uterine smooth muscle. Okay, smooth muscle contraction is only useful at the time of delivery. Okay, so this particular contraction of uterus smooth muscles should not be occur during the development of the fetus. Okay, after the development of the fetus, this contraction is essential for the delivery or the birth of the baby. So this contraction should be suppressed, and this is carried by the progesterone. Okay, and this is called as progesterone block. Okay, and this progesterone also helpful in the inhibition of this pituitary gonadotropins, that is luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. Coming to estrogens, these play an important role in the suppression of the gonadotropins, and also these are helpful in the identification or proper identification of the that is growth of the fetus. Okay, and let's see the major functions of these estrogens. They stimulate growth of myometrium and myometrial suppressing activity of progesterone. Okay, this will help in the growth of myometrium and will suppress the myometrial suppression activity of progesterone. Okay, and also another important function is mammary gland development is also is stimulated by this estrogen. Okay, these estrogens also, like progesterones, will suppress this pituitary gland gonadotropins like luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. And this is a graph representing the concentration or the concentration of progesterone and estrogen during the gestation period. Okay, next protein hormones. Coming to protein hormones, chorionic gonadotropin, and human chorionic gonadotropin is the first hormone produced after this fusion of the male and female gamete, and this will help in the identification or early detection of the pregnancy. And also it will this fetal trophoblast cells will produce this HCG hormone, and it binds to luteinizing hormone receptors, and it will suppress this luteinizing hormone production, and it will be helpful in the recognition process of pregnancy. Okay, equine chorionic gonadotropin is meant for the equine species. And next one is placental lactogens, and these placental lactogens are mostly seen in the primates, ruminants and rodents. These are the only 3 species in which placental lactogens are seen. And the functions of these placental lactogens are not properly understood, but they might help in the modulation of the fetus and maternal metabolism, and also mobilizing energy for the fetus. And in some species these stimulate corpus luteum and participate in the development of mammary glands. Okay, and coming to relaxin, this is majorly meant for the relaxation of pelvic ligaments during the at the end of the gestation period, and this will be helpful in the delivery of the baby. Okay, so coming to synthesis or production of this relaxin, in few species it is produced from placenta, and in few species it is produced from corpus luteum, and in few species it is produced from both the corpus luteum and placenta. So this is about placental hormones. Please keep the material with you while listening to the class, and verify the material 1 to 2 times, as hormones are being increased day by day, and we are studying about new hormones every day. And don't get confused with all the hormones and functions of the hormones. And also listen this class for 2 to 3 times, so that you will not get any confusion between the hormones and the glands producing those hormones. Okay, if you have any doubt, please contact me. Thank you, students.